Hi, I haven't made a video in just forever. I'm sorry it's been so long. Um, the, the super happy, super good feeling I was having for a day or two did not last. It was pretty great, and it's the level of I'd like to be able to actually feel healthy all the time that I'm always wishing for. It lasted at least 2 full days. I'd say somewhere like there's still really good effects on the 3rd day and maybe even part of the 4th day. And then since then, I just kept having, well, I should say it went on for that little bit that it was that good, and then really gradual decline, but just over those few days, it got to where by the 4th day, you could tell it was declining a little. And so then that over a few more weeks kept having some more decline. Could still be related to the guess I had about, whatever was going on with the microbiome, having had some better balance for a little bit, but not something that could be maintained since I still live in a water damaged building. I have had not a lot of great times since then in terms of like another really great day like that, but I did get 1 or 2 that each time really, maybe not quite as great as that day was, but really, really good. And each one lasting like, I don't know, like a full 24 hours, maybe even a day and a half for one of them. So in a way, it's like there's these little good signs here and there, and I'm still hoping that things will continue to go in a better direction, but mostly things have been pretty rough, some of the time now that it's this many months later, just like before. So I'm not keeping up very well with doing updates that are really documenting, obviously, across those months, and with as bad as my memory is nowadays, you can't consider these last few months to have much of any reliable documentation, me and my bad memory that I have lately. But it's, I'm struggling along, and I'm trying, and I'm the very least going to keep a lot of meat going into me and very little of other ingredients. And I just, in the last month, I forget exactly how long this has been, but it's been at least 2 weeks, I have been taking some bulk supplements. I had a reason. I saw in a video from, I think Kelly Hogan, that she mentioned knowing some people were taking creatine. And I thought, well, that's odd. But, I mean, in the context she mentioned it, it seemed odd, because she was just asking about if any of the carnivores who were listening to her video were doing this, and in passing that it was for, I think, brain fog and insomnia, I think is what she had said, that she had heard some people were using it. And I thought, well, that's really interesting. I've, of course, heard of creatine, but I've only really ever thought of maybe some memories of people speaking about it in a bodybuilding context. So I went to a health food store. The day I was listening to it, I was near a health food store that I have some familiarity with, but it's not near where I live. We drive over to Tampa sometimes in the weekends. So anyway, we were in the Temple Terrace area, and I went to the little Chuck's health food store that's there. I think it's called Chuck's. I might be getting that wrong. And I went in while I still had that video playing, because I listen to long form videos when I'm in the car a lot. Sat there in the parking lot and looked some things up, and then we walked in and wandered around, and when I found it, I hung out and wandered away and wandered back and hung out some more a few times where it was, reading the labels and looking up questions I would come up with on the internet about the idea of people using this. And I ended up buying a canister of the powder that you're taking it without it being in pills, of creatine, and that did seem to really help. And the next day I had a really clear day, very, very good, with the memory and the brain fog being seemingly gone that day. So it has led to the odd question of, what are the mechanisms if you can get a great response but you can't get it consistently? So I tried going up in dose, but going on the creatine was a little hard. It definitely affects my digestive system some, or did for a while. Then I thought to look up questions of, like, are there any amino acid supplements that cause constipation when you start them? Obviously I don't want constipation, but thinking that would take it back in that opposite direction. And I got some glutamine, which again, I've heard of people taking glutamine, but I was not taking glutamine over the last few years. I don't remember if I'd ever tried it before. I think, it's possible I had and I'm not remembering, but I don't remember having ever tried it. So then I was taking creatine and glutamine, both bought at brick and mortar stores as opposed to buying online. I don't tend to want to do a ton of shopping online, and I obviously don't have any extra money to just be buying stuff all the time. And I was thinking about this thing about well, they're more affordable in that bulk form, and then getting things that look to be just single ingredients and not with any fillers or other crazy things in the supplements. So I kept on and on and on with questions in my mind about things like that, and eventually I put in an order. So I think the starting with the creatine was at least a month ago. And this order that I put in, that I ordered some bulk supplements online, came in probably about 2 weeks ago. Sorry, you can't trust my memory. We can't say, yes, that's documented. But that's as close as I can get to giving you a timeline of what happened. So I took the creatine and the glutamine in the evenings together, and then I tried a little higher dose of creatine and would back off, and then sometimes I tried just taking a little bit in the morning so that for the day I was getting more. Sometimes that's okay, but I wasn't remembering to do it consistently. And then I got these extra ones, which includes all kinds of extra stuff that after I went ahead and spent a little money on this bulk order. So I have a supplement, again in bulk powder form, that is all of the essential amino acids, because I was beginning to think, like, clearly my body's responding in an interesting way to these kind of supplements, where it hadn't been always responding well enough to the carnivore diet. And I definitely had questions all across these last over 4 years doing carnivore, that I think between myself and various influencers who love this diet and make it sound magical, I think their bodies utilize the meat and absorb everything better. And I've had these digestive problems literally since I was born, that my gut doesn't work very well. And I just thought, I think my body's not processing and dealing with the meat to get all the benefit from it. So I got this amino acid supplement that at least all the essential amino acids in a mix I was going to take at least once a day. Sometimes I've taken them twice a day, in morning and evening. And just in the last few days, I forgot a few evenings, but for a while I was getting them every evening. And most mornings I'd take a dose, and it just says, I think, if I remember right, 3 grams of this as a dose, and that would be all I would take. But I bought other supplements at the same time, thinking if I'm going in and I have some good ideas of things to try, let's just try a new regimen of a few things. So I also got myself some HCl betaine in powder form, and I was aware when I was buying all this stuff, like buying stuff in bulk like this and having to take them with no capsules. Well, you can buy capsules, and I could end up spending a bunch of time getting stuff into capsules eventually, but thinking mostly because I can't afford to do a lot and I want to try this, just thinking I'm gonna have to take them without capsules, and they're cheaper, and maybe this will work out. But what if they taste bad? Just for the record, they do taste bad. It's pretty gross. So had to be all hardcore and be like, I can take it, and I end up making noises when I take them a lot of the time, I think. So my daughter sees me over there and she's like, oh, you're so hardcore. I'll be like, oh. It's really bad. One of them super sour tasting and one of them super bitter tasting and whatever, but I just take them with my meals. There were a few days when I first started all these bulk powder supplements I bought that I would have this trouble with it, that I really couldn't eat very much after I had taken them, and I was trying to take them early on and then eat, or then eat the rest of the meal, and eventually I had to sometimes eat a significant amount of food and then take them in order to be able to eat enough, because on a carnivore diet you can't really afford to just barely eat any meat and then just move on as if you never had any need for food. So I had to shift that up a little to figure out how to do it without ending up with way too little protein and fat in my diet. But it does seem to be helping a little. It's hard to tell with all the brain fog and the fact that it's not bringing me up to where I'm really, really better with, with anything in terms of the insomnia and the brain fog and the memory problems. It's just hit or miss that some days are pretty good. A lot of days are not. But there's generally been a few signs of improvement with my digestion, I think. Again, I'm not really documenting anything all that worthwhile like I wish I were, since everything together as a picture is not good enough to understand it. And like someday if I were healed and people were asking me the questions like the way they do the interviews of people who had good healing, I don't think the memories will be there. I don't think it's just that I can't remember it right now. I think that my brain is not making good imprinted memories probably. So I'm just feeling my way in the dark here, and I keep trying. Financially, things have not, broken loose into some great new area where I'm doing a lot better. I did think I had gradually pulled myself up a lot more since how bad things were last February. And then I'm kind of in a really bad spot again now. And I was feeling really good a couple of different days last week. Again, like I said, getting a little of these days sometimes that I feel really good. So I thought, that this was a good sign. And also I thought I had enough clarity of thinking to look at my finances reasonably, and might be because of how good I felt for those couple of days, or it might just be that it's that bad, but then I'm kind of a crashing down when I realized I'm not okay financially yesterday, which is what happens if you don't have your brain functioning well enough that you just don't know what's going on, and it just ends up being like, oh goodness, I'm like a crazy person. Can't handle my finances. But I did have a pretty bad moment yesterday that I'm going to have to look into today. I'll be going to the bank, I guess around 11 this morning. And so I started fasting again last night, which I didn't want to do fasting and talking about a lot in videos. And I realized when I was thinking about this last night, I should do videos because I haven't been documenting things. And at the very least, when I have some fasting time, my brain will work better. That always happens with that. So even though it's not the same as fasting to God and getting that credit for that from Him, which would be lovely to have that feeling of having a boost spiritually, but it does give you a boost spiritually in a different way, that you can feel closer to God, to know that you're having that exercise and self-control, and getting that extra prayer time and extra, well, it's hard to describe all the things, but it always feels like it's a big boost, and that's nice. So I am going to do some fasting. I have not eaten this morning. I didn't eat dinner last night when I got home, which I didn't feel like I needed it at all last night anyway. So last night I did not have those supplements, and this morning I just skipped breakfast and supplements and everything. I won't be taking the supplements while I'm fasting. I could consider, like I said, just it's not that I'm doing a fast for God, so I thought I might still take the Lord's Supper on Sundays, and I might still take something along the way. Like, what if I take some magnesium along the way? I don't know if I'll need it anyway, but those are all things that could potentially happen. So for now, I'm thinking that I will just be fasting for I don't know how long yet, but kind of like the one I did last summer, that it could potentially go really long. Don't know if it will. It would certainly do a lot more for me financially if it's really long, but I just have to go into it a little more loosely and without a great demand on myself that it has to be a certain amount of time. So anyway, I took the opportunity to make a video. Here I am, made my video. I appreciate that there are some of y'all out there that actually does end up feeling good, even though it wasn't what I was going for originally. But I want to say thank you, that is helpful, to feel that there's a little connection with some people. God bless y'all. Y'all have a great day.